said 10 Marines in a joint station, but at the same time, it seems like a lot of those individuals are actually, you know, of your lower enlisted ranks. I mean, it seems like the responsibilities put on them, those Marines, would be that of a gunny or staff sergeant. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. And what I was saying earlier was that the whole concept here is and what we've finally come to as a company is that the company becomes like a battalion. I rarely see Captain Mines. We get
he's a company CO.
Yes, okay. Yeah. I rarely see him or the company gunny or the company first sergeant. They less than once a week they would come down here to visit in terms of checking things out to make sure things are going on. We set our own patrol schedule. We set our own post schedule, our own ops schedule, our own command and operations center schedule. All of those things we set down here. Whether we want to add more sandbags to one place or leave some off, it's a decision totally up to myself and Sergeant Worth as my Bravo, as my XO. And I actually, the way I view it for myself and for the new unit coming in, the officer that's down here is responsible as a 6 and a 5, as a CO and an XO, commanding officer and executive officer. The NCO that's assigned down here is the first sergeant and the gunny. Lance corporals are acting as comm chiefs, as logistical chiefs, as operations officers, say, that you would have at a battalion level. It's normally filled by a major. We created one at the company level filled by a second lieutenant, and I've created one at the station level filled by a lance corporal. They don't do obviously the same job that a major does, but in terms of what there should be expected of them as a lance corporal, it's far and away vastly beyond what was ever expected of a lance corporal in any other fight. Now, they don't have to deal with the life and death decision of, do I shoot or don't I shoot? I need to protect my fellow Marines.
But they're still they still can do that. I mean,
but yeah, they're exposed to that on a daily basis in terms of the judgment decisions they have to make with the posts that they stand and with the IPs that they deal with. And on the other hand, they have a vastly increased responsibility for so many things, and at the same time vastly increased freedom to do what they need to do. I don't supervise in the way that I would if I had 4 lance corporals in a working party back in Garrison, California. Like, hey, get this from here to there. Like, I can assign a lance corporal to be in charge of that and be reasonably certain that it's going to happen. Reasonably certain. Here I have a lance corporal who supplies us with food and water and medical supplies and whatever else we request on a daily basis, and I barely supervise him in terms of, hey, is everything okay? Yeah, it's all good. And he's handling it like that. And he had growing pains, obviously, but at this point in the deployment, he always impresses me.
Who's this again?
Lance Corporal Ariza.
Ariza. Okay.
Yeah.
It just that's great, and that's, like I said, I'm trying to capture here on film. But I'm like I said, I'm a bit surprised. I mean, the company has a number of senior lance corporals and corporals and sergeants. Why wouldn't the company just send, you know, those people who have the experience to be in the augmentation team? And you said there was PFCs that were coming over here, so yeah. I was wondering what was the thinking at that time.
The thinking at the time was that it would be a more leadership-driven environment, and that we needed those more senior Marines to go out and conduct operations out in zone. And they are critical of that. I wouldn't feel comfortable with having only one senior Marine out on a patrol with me most times. It is important to have somebody out there who's thinking, reacting, because it's not like you can just run to daddy out in zone like you can at the station. Like, hey, this isn't working out for me. Like, Sergeant Worth, help me out, or like, Lieutenant Falk, like, come help me out with this, or like, I'm having a problem here, help me deconflict, or whatever the case may be. So we do need those guys out in zone patrolling.
Well, I was actually here for the advanced party brief that was given by Captain Mines, and he had made the comment that for the augmentation teams that I think he had a saying of something like talent before rank. Do you see that? Okay. Yeah, so these individuals that are out here weren't just assigned out here because they were the last ones left, or you got stuck with them. They were chosen, or
they were chosen to some degree. With the number of stations that we had, it's difficult to there's too much for us to do. You can't talent load one area in this fight and then expect to be able to succeed in other areas. So we have a pretty good spread load. You just have to hope that you have some junior Marines and you have a good NCO that can help train them up. Like, we did get some younger guys. I could have picked more experienced guys from other squads that were available at the time, and we just didn't. We went with what we got, and there were a lot of growing pains just figuring out, like, for myself, for Sergeant Worth, for all the Marines, like, this is my first deployment, Sergeant Worth's second deployment, okay, and aside from one other Marine, all the other Marines, all the junior Marines, is first deployment as well. So this is, they come out of boot camp, they got a couple months in the fleet, they get thrown in here, and now it's, instead of, hey, here's a 203, go guard that window, it's like, don't let us run out of water, order all these things, we need more batteries, everything else that's going on top of that.
Yeah. Adnan's out there asking for money for the food. Did he bring
Has he come every day this week?
Yes, he has.
All right, sweet.
So I mean, you know, I've only been in country now for weeks or so. You know, I know different